I'll go ahead and get started, guys. So first of all, welcome back. I'm the one that's been gone from the lives, and I missed you guys because these lives are fun. So I have a list of stuff I want to talk about, but I'm also going to let you guys chat in here when you want. Unfortunately, I fixed the comments to where it's a minute in between comments. Danny is telling me to do 30 minutes. Let me see if I can go in here and do that without cutting you guys off. I don't know how to change it, but we'll see if we can't change it so that the comments can be sent every 30 seconds as opposed to every minute. So let's talk first about the channel milestones. First of all, we have over 2,400 subscribers. I'm very, very excited about that. We've had almost, over 72,000 views on the channel. We have over about 111 videos. The most watched video has over 20,000 views. And that most watched video is still the microaggressions, a weapon used to silence Black women. It has almost 400 comments. So that video is still being pushed out. I did that video over 2 years ago, and that video is still being pushed out by YouTube, and I'm still getting comments to this day. I got a comment actually yesterday from that video. So that to me is very exciting. So I'm very happy for that. And people are just, it still resonates with people, even though I did the video over 2 years ago. If you would like for me to do a follow-up to that video, put in the chat follow-up to the video. And if you're watching this from the future and you're watching the replay, put into the comments, do a follow-up to the video. And if you just say follow-up in comments, I'll know exactly what video it is. So for those of you who have just got in, I'm talking about my highest performing video, which had over 20,000 views. Then the next science video, I think that one has about almost 15,000 views. So for a channel this size, that's pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. So if you want me to do a follow-up to that, let me know. Right now, I'm just going to go over some housekeeping and, before we get into the meat and the nitty-gritty of today's live. The next thing I want you to remind you guys to do is to check out the community tab. In the community tab, that is where I put a lot of information. I put words of inspiration and encouragement there. I usually put a post there at least every Monday, an encouraging post. So you guys might want to check that out. That's also, by the way, where I make announcements. I make announcements there on the community post. So you might want to just check that out from time to time and just kind of see what's going on. If you want to know really what I'm doing and what I'm up to, what the channel's doing and what the channel's up to, check the community tab. Okay. Oh, and I also put I do shout outs to other channels there. Sometimes I'll see a channel that has information that I might find helpful to the community. So I'll place that in the community tab as well. In addition to sometimes shouting it out on the actual video or something. But sometimes I don't like to wait until I do a video, so I will shout it out on the communications tab. So we're going to go ahead and just get into the nitty gritty, okay? The first topic today, and I'm looking at my notes over here because I had to rearrange some things, but we just going to go with it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about the affirmative action updates. You guys know in two prior lives, we talked about affirmative action of a particular group that was working with this man. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say who they are, but you can Google and see. But there was a particular group working with somebody who decided that they wanted to put an end to affirmative action as it relates to college entry. And that happened. The United States of America Supreme Court ruled that you could not use ethnicity or race as a basis of admitting somebody into higher institutions of learning, such as colleges or universities. Some of the folks felt that African Americans or Blacks, I consider myself Blacks, were getting in at higher numbers that we would not get in if there was no affirmative actions. Of course, us in this community, we knew that that was false. We knew that we weren't the ones that were primarily benefiting from affirmative action. But, sometimes, that old saying, people got to mess around and find out. So to give you an update, that same group that worked against the Black community and or thought they were working against the Black community, they're upset because the acceptance rates into some of the Ivy Leagues went down. It actually went down after affirmative action ruling. Some of the rates went down. So now they're suing several Ivy League universities. Now you may say, who knew? Who knew that would happen? My answer is we knew, and we tried to tell folks that you are benefiting. People from your group are benefiting from affirmative action being in place, and you removing that particular statute is going to hurt your group, not as much as you think it's going to hurt our group, the Black group. It's going to hurt your group. So they fooled around and found out. And so now they are threatening to sue Yale, Princeton, and Duke because their numbers went down. Now, let me tell you something else that's funny. Not funny, but, it's ironic. I'll use the word ironic. Even though affirmative action said, we're going to remove the race thing, the legacy admissions and geographic preferences continue to be in favor of the status quo folks. Now, what I find interesting is that group that has decided to file these lawsuits, they're not considering that the legacy students who happen to mostly belong to the status quo folks, if you know what I mean, they're not considering that. They're not even going to try to sue them folks, but they suing these schools because they still feel like people who look like me are taking their spots. But the actual studies, the post-affirmative action studies show that it is just not true, which we knew already. Okay. So that's that on that. I do want to end by saying that the numbers of Blacks, it went down a little bit, but it didn't go down as much as they thought. I put a link to several articles in the description. So if you want to talk about, look at that, it's there. So if you have any comments about anything, put it in the chat field and we'll discuss it. In the meantime, I'm going to go on to the next topic, and that is reparations. Okay. I want to give a quick definition of reparations. A simple one. And I'm reading, okay? Reparations is defined as the making of or amends for a wrong one has been done by paying money or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. And you say, well, why are you bringing it up? I'm bringing it up because some folks are against reparations, and I'm okay if you're against reparations. This is real simple to me. I'm for reparations, okay? And I'm going to give you a little bit of context because some people say, oh, the people who are alive now, they didn't enslave anybody. Why should they have to pay? And I'm not going to get into the number of different groups, including members of the group that is suing affirmative action. Certain members within that group of people have received reparations, and they should have gotten them, okay? But when it comes to us, folks have a problem. For example, we have been dealing with stuff since after slavery. We're not even going to talk about the 40 acres and a mule. After slavery, Black folks still had to deal with, there was Jim Crow and systemic racism, including redlining and segregation and other things. And I'm not going to get into whether that was right or wrong, the segregation part of it. I personally have my own views on it. But those things happened. And as a result, generational wealth was stymied in Black communities. It doesn't mean it stopped. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. Many in the Black community have wealth. They have generational wealth. They have passed it on. They opened businesses despite the barriers that were in place. On both sides of my family, both my great-grandmothers, Mama T, and my dad's grandmother had their own businesses. So they were business women. during a time when there was nothing in their favor to be a businesswoman. So we have been doing things successfully despite the obstacles that have been put in place. Now, I said I was going to discuss my view on reparations, and this is going to be real short and sweet. I'm for them. As I said, I'm for them. And I'll be looking for to receiving my cash payments. Okay. And I just want to say something else. Some people say, well, people don't know people who were enslaved, and that happened a long time ago. And, it was a long, long time ago. Let me just put a few facts out there. Slavery in the United States, okay, supposedly ended in 1865. Now, we know that in the South, there are still people enslaved. The 13th Amendment allows people who are in the correctional institution to be enslaved, and they are being used. It's called, there was a name for that. They used to loan them out, but they still loan them out. They work for private companies. Some of them work at McDonald's. If you go to the southern states and people working at McDonald's, Burger King, a lot of them people are prisoners. And the money that they earn, most of it goes to the correctional facility. They keep a small portion of it. So we do have slaves still here in America. So let's just keep that all the way real. So slavery ended in the United States supposedly in 1865. Gramps, my paternal grandfather, was born 35 years after slavery. He was born in 1900. Mother Dear, my great-great-grandmother, she was born in 1900, and I knew both of them. Thank you, Michael. It's called convict leasing. That's exactly what it was. The prisoners who are loaned out, and they work. You used to see people working on the chain gangs. That's slavery. Okay. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it, brother. And I knew both my grandfather Gramps and my great grandmother. So we talking about people that was born 35 years after slavery. Do you think their parents were enslaved? You don't have to really figure those numbers out. Okay. My Mother Dear's grandmother, Pender Hill, she was enslaved. So that's just, Mother Dear was my great-great-grandmother. I knew her growing up. This is not nobody I heard about. I knew her. Got spanked by her and everything. Okay. So these are people that I know. So for people to say that we don't know people who were connected to that, some of us do. Many of us do. So it is not a far stretch to imagine the impact that the enslavement of the African Americans, and I use the word Blacks, but I'll say African Americans interchangeably, that we have dealt with since we have been brought to this country. And so there was a wrong done there. And that wrong just needs to be repaid. That's all. And I don't think people have to support us necessarily. And I'm speaking specifically to other groups of Blacks. I'm talking about non African Americans or people who are born in this country. You don't have to support reparations for United States Blacks, but don't block us. I don't have a problem with folks disagreeing with it, but don't block us getting our reparations. And I'm just going to keep it 100. I have a problem with that. If you don't agree, no worries. Okay. But don't block us. Just sit still, be quiet, and let us do what we do. Because many people are benefiting off of the backs of Black Americans. And I'm going to keep it 100. And if you are a group of people that's benefiting off the backs of African Americans or Blacks, then you should, I feel, morally support reparations. Reparations is biblical. Look in the Bible and you will see, honey, people got reparations when they were released, when they left slavery. They took gold and all kinds of stuff. What is that? Reparations. So I'm for it. Okay, so that's that. Thank you, just Ayana. Thank you. She said convict leasing as well. And I'll do it. Put in the chat if you want me to do something on convict leasing. That is a cold system, because what you have is several of those southern states had an opportunity to get rid of slavery, to say it was illegal. I think it was last year they opted not to do it. Why? Because they depend on convict leasing. Okay. Michael Pan said, I support you 100%. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay, now I want to talk reparations, and then I'm going to get into delineation, because we're going to go through these topics today. And then, after we get through these hard topics, we're going to talk about some light stuff. So, delineation. Some people seem to be upset because Black Americans are saying, hey, we want to denote that we are Blacks from America. Some people feel that that's discriminatory. They feel we trying to be standoffish. We think we better. But what they don't understand is that delineation, it's not a discriminatory thing. I want to give you a brief definition, a simple definition of what the word delineation mean. And I'm not trying to talk to people like they don't know. You probably do know, but I'm just putting it out here on the internet for people who don't know. Okay. Delineation is the action of describing or portraying something precisely, period. So you may say, Colette, why are you bringing that up? And what does it have to do with reparations? Well, reparations is tricky because when you use the word Black, you have a lot of Black people. You have Black people that are not originally from America. They're immigrants. And so they don't have the same experiences in America that Black Americans have had. You have our Caribbean sisters and brothers. Yes, they were enslaved, but they were not enslaved in this country. So their relationship and experience is not the same as us. Caribbeans also have a place, Jamaica, that they can call home. They have a place, Trinidad, that they can call home. Black Americans' home is America for us. We don't have another place. Some of our sisters and brothers can say, I came from Panama. Okay. We don't have a place other than America. I'm going to say this. There is, some people don't realize that even though a lot of the diaspora conversations are around Black Americans, do you know most Blacks outside of the continent of Africa, you know where they were taken to? Brazil. They weren't even brought to the Americas. They were brought to Brazil. So the most Blacks in the world outside of the continent of Africa is Brazil. However, the conversations about the Black diaspora and Blacks generally center around Black Americans because we do happen to be, the group that has been the most influential, I would say, as it relates to American culture, and American culture seems to influence the world. Okay, and that's just the truth. Okay, that's not saying we better than anybody else. None of that. Not saying, wouldn't say that. What it's saying is that there are a lot of people that look to America, and America has been taking a lot of its tips and cues from the Black American culture. Now, sometimes that has been credited to us, but most of the time it has not. So I just want to put that out there, and I just want to make it real clear that yes, delineation, it is not discriminatory. I personally was married to a West African, and when people asked him who he was, he made sure to let them know that he was a blank American. He said his country. He didn't, he wanted to let people know he wasn't black. He was that other kind of Black. So that's a form of delineation. Am I upset for him doing that? No, I'm not. So I don't think anybody else should be upset for us saying, hey, you know what? This is what we are. This is what we came from. And, it is what it is. So I do want to go, while we're talking about identity and delineation, I want to give you a brief history about how we got all these titles. Let me look at the comments real quick. Okay, Ayana, I'll do something on it. Ayana said, please do a live about convict leasing. Okay, all right. And hopefully by the time I do that, I'll know how to use StreamYard. My friend will show me how to do it. And then I can have people on the channel and you can come on and say what you got to say. And then Jean Roseborough said, freedom Black Americans. Yes, I've heard that term too. Okay, so let me give you a brief a breakdown of African American and Black identity. And this is from the Chicago History of Museum and other sources. And everything I'm referring to, I have it linked in the description. So, there was a time when, I ain't even go to the N word that ends with trigger. I ain't gonna go with that. And I'm not gonna say the word because YouTube will block me, okay? And I don't need to be blocked. We were colored, okay? And you might say, oh, that was a long time ago. Well, I was born in 66. So I heard people say colored, and I heard somebody in my lifetime refer to Black people as colored, and he was a Hispanic man, my age, okay? Colored. So we were colored. Then we went to Negro with the capital N, and I believe that was because of Du Bois. We were Negro for a long time, and I hope that's don't get blocked. But anyway, we were that for a long time, but it was the small N. We went to the big N when Du Bois and all of them started writing about it and referring to us as such. And you will see that in the titles of a lot of books. Okay. That was replaced in the 60s, okay, with Black. And that's when I grew up. I went through the other one, the N word that rhymes with hero. But then I also grew up with when we were called Blacks, and that's what I call myself, Black. I was born in the Bay Area. We lived in Oakland when I was little, and we lived during the Black Power movement. I remember seeing the older adults with their afros, dashikis, and they puka shells. It wasn't no joke, okay? And we were singing them songs by James Brown. Say it loud, and y'all repeat. I'm Black and I'm proud. Say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. We said that as a kid. And then there was another song, Young, Gifted, and Black. So we were Black, okay? Then in 1988, and I had graduated from high school, we became African American. I'm like, well, what happened? So apparently Jesse Jackson, he had decided, they wanted to tie us to some land. Like I said, Jamaicans can say they came from Jamaica. People from Ghana can say they came from, Ghanaians can say they came from Ghana. Well, Blacks didn't have a place other than America. So, they kind of wanted to tie us to something. And so that's how we became African Americans. One of the things you'll hear me say is I don't say I'm a person of color, because when you do that, we're not considered. And I don't say I'm BIPOC. I say I'm Black. Sometimes I'll say African American, but for the most part, I say I'm Black, and that's what that is. Somebody wrote, Just Me said, I read somewhere that they made James calm BD with that song to neutralize us. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. You're gonna have to explain that, Just Me. Because you might be telling me something I didn't know, but explain that more. I'm really curious about that. So anyway, so that's that on that. That's the heavy stuff. Okay. That's the heavy stuff. And if you have any questions, put those in the chat. So we talked about the channel milestones. We talked about reparations. I'm going to talk about affirmative action. We talked about delineations. The next thing I'm going to talk about is, I just saw an article about how the board, the U.S. American executive boardrooms are reverting to a research. The article was called "The Resurgence of Whiteness in the Boardroom," and I was like, the resurgence of whiteness. What they mean resurgence? I don't think that went away. But then when I started thinking, I retired from the state, a state agency, after about 30 years, almost 30 years. I was with them, and I was in management. And when the branch that I was in management, there were some other colors in there. We had other colors. But as I was leaving, what I noticed is there did appear to be I'm going to just use the word gentrification of the state jobs and leadership. the agency that I worked with, or the branch that well, it is an agency. It was an agency and a branch and a department. Okay. So the particular department that I worked for in the state, that department kind of had a lot of Black people at one time. They had Black people in leadership. They had Black people workers in upper and mid leadership positions. But when I was leaving, that complexion was getting a little lighter, and I noticed that. The trainers were getting lighter, and the people in our headquarters, they were getting lighter too. So when I saw this article, The Resurgence of Whiteness in Boardrooms, I thought, wow, that's what's happening at the state. And I will just call it the regentrifications of state jobs, and probably the regentrifications of government jobs in general. Many of us African Americans, we have, college education, and you don't need to have a college education necessarily to get many of these jobs, but we either have the college education or we worked ourselves our way up, and we are able to get high levels in some of these government agencies. And you may say, and in fact, we kind of were overrepresented, I believe, in some of these government agencies, because many private sector wouldn't hire us despite our credentials, right? So we were able to work our way up in these government agencies. Yes, I experienced a lot of blocking, and I've talked a lot about that on a bunch of different videos, and I'll still continue to talk about it. But what I am noticing is the regentrification of government jobs. So the people in these jobs, the Black people disappearing, y'all. I'm just going to keep it real. They ain't in the jobs no more. Many of them don't have the authority that they had. I know when I left the agency that I left, there are no Black women at the level that I was at in the region. So, it is what it is. But that's what's happening. So your thoughts on that would be awesome. If you guys put something in the comments, I can respond to it. I do see where Michael Pan said, are you familiar with Philip Scott? Yep, he's one of my favorite content creators, the host of African Diaspora News Channel. Yep, he's one of my favorite content creators out of Texas. I watch him every day. I watch actually all his channels every day. So yeah, I agree with a lot of things he says. Yes, I do watch him. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you. And if I don't have any other questions, I'm going to move on. So we talked about the regentrification of jobs. We talked about affirmative action. Next, I kind of want to talk, I want to get into something light. Okay. I'm going to get into some light stuff. Let's see. I want to talk about adulting. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we got a discussion going on here. Just me say I disagree with some of the things he says. She's talking about Philip Scott. Like he said, Black women don't need to be courted. Well, yeah, he do. He do say some stuff. My daughter told me he's a hotep or something like that. I don't know the proper word, but yeah, he do say stuff like that. You're right. I got a brother, he reminded me of my brother, one of my brothers. I got a couple of brothers. Michael, what about DEI? DEI what? What about it? Be more clear on that, brother. Okay, so I want to talk about adulting. So some of you who know me, y'all know that my daughters are grown. They out the house. They might be watching this video, but they're grown, 27 and 24. So I was empty I was an empty nester before I retired. Okay, from my state job, I was an empty nester. They were both away at college, and then somebody said, "Your baby, right? Your baby is right." Oh, yeah. She right. She's the best. I'm about to talk about her in a minute, but I was an empty nester. Then, the COVID happened. So these people came back home. Okay. They came back home. So I was a re-nester. Then the COVID left. Then they left. So then I was an empty nester again. But guess what happened? I got my niece and nephew now, teenagers. So I call myself a re-nester. And boy, that adulting 101 is off the chain. One of them is 18. She just started college. And just going through the motions of adulting is off the chain. These people, something else. You know, your money is their money, and their money is their money. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say on that. I remember when my youngest one was at home, I had bought her some chips, and she didn't eat them. She didn't eat the chips right away. So, to me, she didn't seem very committed to the chips. So she left the chips there, and I had a chip craving, and so I ate the chips. So she found out later that I ate her chips and asked me, was I going to reimburse her for the chips that I ate that I bought her? How does that make sense? Adulting 101. But she could eat my stuff. That's the kind of stuff I'm dealing with now. I have my niece and nephew here, and I'm just going to tell you a few little funny things, a little bit of my business. These are Gen Zs, and they not like us. They different. They not like us. They Gen Zs, and I have stairs, so sometimes I can't go down the stairs. So I have my water bottles. I have 3 of these that I'll put on the top of the stair, the banister. I just lay them. The empty bottles. I lay them up there. Like when I grew up, the milkman used to bring you your milk. You leave the empty milk outside the door, and he replace it with fresh milk. That's back in the day. Well, I put this on the banister, empty. And, I figure when they go down, they can just fill them up for me, right? So I always know who filled up the water, because my niece, when she fills it up, she'll fill up the water and she'll bring it into my room. She brings it directly into my room. But my nephew, when he fill up the water, he'll sit it back on the banister. He don't say nothing. He don't knock on the door. He don't tell me. Delivery skills are just terrible, right? So we've been doing this little non-communication of me getting my water and getting the feel for a while. And then one day, last week, he gonna put his basket of dirty clothes outside my bedroom door. So I guess he figured, you putting your stuff up on the banister, I'm gonna put my stuff to let you know. I said, the devil is a lie. He ain't said nothing, just dirty clothes sitting out. So that's the stuff I'm dealing with, y'all. Them Gen Zs, they not like us. They are not like us. They're not like us. And I'm trying to learn them, okay? I'm trying to learn the Gen Zs. If any of y'all can deal with some Gen Zs, let me know. I call my mom and we talk about it. And, she happy because she's like, you got them. So, yes, the clothes. Yep. Danny, he put his clothes outside the door in the basket. Just sat them there. Let's see. Look at the comments. Michael Pan said, just me. I understand, because Philip Scott is very traditional, because he wants to go back to the 1950s when Black men were the head of the household and their women were homemakers. Yeah, I think he is very traditional. Just me said, I'm biased. I have daughters too, and they're spoiled. That's my kids. Just me. It's not just your kids, mine too. Oh, just me said to Michael Pan. Oh, wait, I don't even know what that means. So I ain't gonna get in that. Y'all go ahead and duke it out. Let me know what happened in the end. All right. So I do want to bring up some stuff about, let's see. I do have a question. I've been on Amazon lately, y'all. And I see something on there said named Rufus. Who is Rufus? I had to call my daughter. It says Rufus in the top left-hand corner. So I thought somebody had hacked into my computer. And I'm like, oh no, So I'm trying to turn the computer off, reset it. So then I said, let me look and see who Rufus is. Talking about Rufus is your AI assistant. First of all, I didn't ask for no AI assistant. Second of all, anybody named Rufus don't sound like they could be of assistance to me. So they need to get a whole nother name. Rufus is not sitting well with me. Rufus is kind of like Tyrone. You know, we got certain stereotypes about the name Tyrone. Rufus is in that same group. So somebody need to text AI and tell them, text Amazon and let them know Black people don't call assistants Rufus and we don't call them Tyrone. Those are just names we just don't do. Okay. So anybody, y'all use Rufus? Anybody use Rufus on the Amazon app? Let me know if you use Rufus. But I thought somebody was trying to get in my computer. Okay. Thank you, Danny. Danny was saying congratulations. So I'm gonna get to that. Speaking of Amazon, you guys, I have released my workbook, and some of you guys might have seen it, but my workbook, which is called Personal Vision and Mission Statement Workbook for Black Women by Colette Elizabeth. This is a 170-page color workbook that helps you to write your personal vision for your life, your personal vision and mission statement for your life. And it's basically, let me just show you a few pages here. You could write down, you know, like spiritual growth, your plan for that, why you want to change, what you plan to do to change. And it's 170 pages, very thick. This workbook is a representation of personal vision workshops that I've been doing since 2013. I stopped doing them when I went back to school for my PhD, but I had been doing these workshops for years and they would sell out every single session. But now you can get that stuff in the workbook. So it's available on Amazon. The link is on my homepage. It's also in the description. And you guys are the first to know this. I want to thank everybody who has purchased the book so far. My mama, my daughters, my cousin Roxanne, my niece, couple of my nieces. Thank you guys. I also just released a gratitude journal. It's called Just Thankful Gratitude Journal for Black Women. Hey, Michael, you could buy this too. And it's beautiful. It's a blank workbook, 172 pages. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm very proud of it. So if you don't, this would be a great Christmas gift if you celebrate Christmas or just a whatever gift if you want to. So this is the set. They're separate, of course, but this one was just released. And this one was released last week. And if you guys want me to do a live going, explaining this personal vision and mission statement workbook in depth, I can do that. But I did give information about it on another video that I did. And I'll go ahead and link that. I didn't link it, but I will link it to the description. So thank you, Danny, for bringing that up and reminding me to tell y'all about it. Wait a minute. I got some people duking it out in the comments. What y'all talking about over here? Michael, what you talking about? Phil, he gets away because he feels that. Oh, okay. All right. Let me see what you're saying. Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Now, look, they duking it out. Now they trying to get me in it. Okay, let me see. What you say? Michael said, Colette, do you agree with Philip Scott that Black people need to leave California and move to the South because the state is too racist for them? Yes. I live in California. He right. He right. And that's why I want to leave and plan to leave, actually. And if I hadn't got re-nested, I would have been gone. I was out of here. California, people think that California, because it's in the West, they don't realize how racist it is. It is very racist. In fact, there's a video on YouTube that talks about 10 of the most racist cities in the U.S. I live in the city that was, I think it was the number one city, and it's in California. So people get confused. She said she loved, I know a lot of people love living in California. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it's very racist. And it's getting worse. Um, I think it's getting worse. And it's not necessarily um something in the open. Is kind of an overt racism that is happening here in California. I think that a lot of what has happened is that because African Americans and Blacks, we're so spread out, and a lot of us don't necessarily, it's California, different parts of it is kind of fast. I live in an area that's not really fast. I live in an area that's in Central California, but other parts is, people trying to get to work, go to church, come home, so it's not like when I was growing up everybody knew everybody. Like my grandparents knew the people down the street, knew their grandparents, knew their grandkids, knew their aunts, uncles, because all these people were from the South. So when I was growing up, Fresno was settled by a lot of Black people from the South, the Black people that were here. So, there were Southern mannerisms. You knew everybody. I mean, the lady down the street, you try to do something, you got told on before you got home. You know what I mean? So it's a little different now. And it's kind of sad. I also think that, especially where I live in Central California, I think that a lot of integration kind of hurt our communities because I grew up around Black businesses, and like the Black dentist and the Black doctor and the Black teacher all lived on the same street with you because of redlining. They could not live someplace else. So you knew all these people, you know what I mean? But then when integration happened, a lot of these people left the communities and took a lot of the financial base. And so, of course, that's when you have cities that, the financial base is gone, and, it is not supported. So then you have rundown areas. And the area I live in is not as bad as many of the other areas that you see in America. But, and as you know, when Blacks leave, other groups come in, and so that's what's happening here. But yes, I think that Fresno, I do agree that California is too racist. And I have been here my whole life. Okay. And it's time to go. Geo. And as soon as I get some things in place that I need to get in place, I'll be an outie. And I would have been gone. Like I said, if I had not have re-nested, I would have been gone. Okay. So let's see. Then we talked about the adulting. We talked about Rufus. And we talked about the personal vision workbook. The last thing I want to talk about is, no, it's not the last thing. I want to know, how you guys feel about all these upgrades and updates with these iPhones? I have an iPhone. I know a lot of people got Androids, but my kids talked me into getting an iPhone years and years ago. And now you got iPhone 16, 17 coming out. And, I've been getting text messages, emails, drive-bys, all kind of stuff where they want me to upgrade my phone. I don't want to upgrade my phone because I like my button. I like my real button. You see? Hold on. I like a button. That's a button. This button. I do not like the button to be on inside of the phone. I want to see the button. And so I personally don't like the new phone. So I always want to is it just me being old, or is it just me not wanting to change? I normally want to change stuff, but I'm not with the new technology iPhone because I don't want people getting pictures of my eyes, the biometrics, my thumb information. I feel like they're going to do something with my information. With this, I just push a button. I don't want to read nothing. So you guys tell me your thoughts on that. Michael said, Colette, are you originally from California? Yes, I am. I'm original Cali person. I was born in Berkeley, lived in Oakland, and raised somewhere else. So Cali is in my blood through and through. But I'm sick of Cali. So somebody saying they going back to Cali, I'm going out of Cali. 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 I'm going out of Cali. I don't think so. Colette, do you like to be a homemaker so that you don't have to deal with a homemaker? No, Michael, you must be new to this channel. Well, let me see. First of all, I'm too old. Okay, I'm almost 60. So I probably would not be the best homemaker because I don't like to cook. I can't cook, even though my family say that they don't think I could cook. I can cook. I don't like to cook. But I don't know if I would make a good homemaker. I don't like to do a lot of housework. If I could be a homemaker and have some help, I'll be a good homemaker. Like if I could have a maid and a cook and a laundress, then yeah, I'll be a good homemaker, Michael. Then I would just have to just be cute for my husband. And then, yeah, I wouldn't have to deal with the racism. Yeah, then I would be a good homemaker. But other than that, nah, I probably would not be a good homemaker, Michael. Philip Scott said that Black women can't deal with racism in the workforce because Black men are masculine and strong and deal with racism. Okay, Michael, you're trying to start some mess. I'm gonna have to tell you off in a minute. Okay. I don't care nothing about what he talking about on this chat, on that chat. I watch that channel, but don't keep telling me stuff about him. You trying to start some mess. And I'm trying to not be in no mess because I already have my own issues. I'm barely gonna get into heaven, and I don't need to get involved and I don't need to have Philip, what's his name, Scott, calling me and cussing me out, because then we'll be on the internet and we'll have some problem. Him and I about the same age. And so don't try to get me in no mess with Philip Scott. That's what you're trying to do. I listen to his channel. Actually, I listen to all his channels. I like a lot of his content. Some of the stuff I don't agree with. Some of the stuff I do agree with. A lot of stuff I'm down with. A lot of stuff I'm not down with. But don't be trying to start no mess, Michael. You trying to start some stuff. What's your government name? Michael probably ain't even your government. What is your name? You trying to start something. Let's see. Allie D said, nah, I'm not up to speed with the biometrics and electronics. I know, Allie, me neither. Me neither. I don't like it. Michael talking about I'm not trying to start no mess. Michael, you need to go look at some old lives or videos or something. See who you dealing with here on this side. Now, don't try to start stuff. You can be in this room. I ain't gonna kick you out because you're kind of funny, but don't be trying to start no mess. All right. So let me talk about, the cell phone we talked about. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is butter toffee peanut butter. So in one of my videos, I talked about I was in a rut and how, I had gained a little bit because I had started eating butter toffee peanuts. And I started eating these butter toffee peanuts. I started eating them, gained a little weight because I got on the scale, right? And I saw the scale. I said, what in the world? And someone said, them butter toffee peanuts. And I said, oh, goodness. So I had got off them butter toffee peanuts. I did, you guys. And then I started back eating the butter toffee peanuts to the point where my niece and nephew did a butter toffee peanut intervention. They just did it last week. They told me I can't have no more. And I said, well, why? And they said, you can't have no more butter toffee peanuts. I said, all right. I said, well, they said, we're going to hold you accountable. And I'm like, how they going to hold? They said, you can't spend no money on butter toffee peanuts. And we're going to cook at home. We're not going to spend no more money out eating out. Like, how you going to put me on a budget with my own money? Y'all ain't paying rent. You ain't giving no money for nothing. And you going to put me on a budget. So I said, I'm going to call my daughter, the oldest one. So we called her. I said, hey, these kids trying to put me on a butter toffee peanut restriction and on a budget. She talking about she approve it. So I've been okay with butter toffee peanuts for a while. But I'm going to tell you something. I snuck me some in here today. And as soon as we done with this live, I'm finna go eat them. They don't know, but I'm going to eat my butter toffee peanuts. Do you guys have something that you crave you know, I didn't got back on that stuff. And I'm gonna have to figure out how to get off of it. Let me see. Put in the comments if you got something that you know you need to give up. You know you need to give it up. For me, it's butter toffee peanuts. Let's see what you guys have. Oh, he said. Oh, he said that's my real name. Michael Pan said that's his real name. Just just be Philip Scott does not. Oh, okay. All right. Somebody say they love me. I love you too. All right. So if y'all don't have no questions, um, jokes or shout outs, let me know. I do plan to Colette, have you traveled to the African continent before? Michael, I was married to an African, so that's like traveling. Um, let's see. But I had planned uh to be in Kigali, Rwanda. I had planned to relocate there last year. I was supposed to be there now, but some life circumstances happened, like I said, and I have gotten re-nested. So I had to change those plans for a little bit or delay them. But no, I have not had the opportunity to travel there. But again, like I said, I was married to an African, and I got 2 half African kids. So to me, that's like traveling. Have anybody in the comments traveled to Africa? And do they want to travel to Africa? I'm gonna need to. Hey, Danny, are you still a moderator or no? Because I got to figure out how to move these things faster because it's still slow. Hey, don't keep bringing him up in this live. Philip Scott said that when Black people move or travel to African continent, they feel good and do not have to worry about the racism. Oh, yeah, that's a good comment. Yeah, that's true. I heard him say that. I've heard, you know what, Michael? I've heard other people say that. I know people who have gone over to the continent, and some of them really, really, really felt like a different person when they went over. They said that they felt like a human. They didn't have to worry about being a Black woman or a Black man. They were just a woman and a man. And honestly, I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine. Oh, you're not one of my moderators? I sent you an email. Okay, I have to figure it out then, and I'll just make you a moderator for next time. Anyway, I can't even imagine having that freedom of you know like, for example, I went into a TJ Maxx earlier this month. I use a certain kind of soap. I use lemon soap. That's all I like. Lemon soap or any kind of citrus soap or any kind of grapefruit soap. So I went in there because I had ran out. My kids buy me the soap and I use it. I just told them, don't buy me gifts. If you buy me gifts, just give me a big, huge bag. And they give me a big shopping bag full of soap. So I had run out. I went to TJ Maxx to go do it. So it ain't but 2, 3, 4 people in there. All of a sudden, this girl who works there is following me. She's following me, looking, all of a sudden she want to clean up that old raggedy shelf that's been raggedy, right? Now you want to straighten it out. Okay. And you're not even slick about it. Okay. You ain't even slick about it. Be slick about it. I don't care if you follow me, but be slick about it. Okay. Don't make it where I got to look at you and say, just be slick about it. Okay. So she's following me. So I don't know how many bars, because I buy a lot of bars. When I see lemon, if they got 10 lemon bars or 20 lemon bars, I buy them out and they're like about $4 or $5. I buy the whole thing because I don't want to come back. I just keep buying them because that's all I use. I don't use other soap. And so I get back to the register and guess who's helping me? The same chick that was straightening up the raggedy shelves. So she helps me and she's counting all the bars and all the stuff I buy. And I buy the hand soap too, the liquid one. So she's counting them and it's a lot of them and it's very heavy. So she's like, "Oh, are these Christmas gifts?" And I said, "No, that's all I use. This is for me." So then she, and so you could tell, I don't know, it was shocking for her or what. I don't have no idea. So she's looking at me and then she says, oh, you want to open a card? And I said, no, no, thank you. So I give her the money and I had 50s. So she looked at them. I mean, that girl looked over and over at the money. And I'm like, what is the problem? First I come in, you follow me because you think I'm stealing or going to steal. Second, you question me about the soap. Is it a gift? I ain't getting ready to bring the soap back. Okay. Third, I ain't paying you with no credit card. I'm paying you with cash. So you looking at that. And then you gonna try to have small talk with me. I don't have nothing to say to you. Okay. You looked at me, a Black woman who walked into a cheap store to get some soap. That's all I want to get. Just some soap. So to answer your question, Michael, I want to know what that's like. For once, to be able to go in a store, when you go into Nordstrom's and store like that, you don't have them problems. So when you go in these cheap stores, to go in any store and not be followed or feel like I got to show my hands because I'm shopping, right? I want to know what that's like. So yes, I will go to the continent for that. However, I will say this. I've also heard that there's some colonialism issues with our sisters and brothers on the continent. That if a Asian person comes or a white person comes and you're in line, they're going to help those people before they help you. So I have heard that. You may not get followed for stealing, but I heard you probably ain't gonna get help first if you come all at the same time. So, we got our issues everywhere. We have been harmed, and that's going back to the delineation movement. Some of our brothers and sisters don't understand why African Americans or Black Americans want to delineate. We want to delineate because we want to show that we have, we're a group, we have a connected history, and they don't always understand why our situation is different from their situation. They don't get. One of my girlfriends Dr. Kimani Norrington Sands always says about toxic jobs, why she thinks people should leave, and she doesn't feel people can heal where they were harmed. Black Americans were harmed here. We weren't harmed somewhere else. We were harmed here. Jamaican Americans were harmed in Jamaica, not here. Okay. Belize Americans were harmed in Belize. Haitian Americans were harmed in Haiti, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Black Americans, we were harmed here and we're still here. So the experiences that we have and the challenges and barriers that we have, they're a little different. Okay. They're a little different, which is why many people who are African American or Blacks that go to the continent, they go there and do well. Why? While the continental Africans may not do as well as them in their own countries. Why? Because African Americans weren't harmed in Africa. And so we don't have that mental, I feel, and emotional baggage and taking it over there. That is a huge, huge load to carry. So we can go over there and do things, and plus, there is a certain privilege that Americans get just because we're Americans. I don't mean we better, but we just have to keep that 100% real. So yes, I do want to go to the continent. At one point, I was going to live there. I don't know if I still want to do that. I may go and stay for long periods of time. Like I said, my children are half African, Nigerian to be specific, and they have dual citizenship. So I encourage them to take advantage of that, and to be proud of that and to not hide that. And so that is what it is. Okay, so somebody said anything pasta. Oh, okay, her favorite food is just, Ayana said anything pasta. Oh, natural ally. Oh, Danny said, Colette, you can make your own lemon soap and grapefruit. I ain't getting ready to make my own soap. I'm retired. I'm not making them nothing. Now see, that a homemaker could do that. That's why I wouldn't be no good homemaker, because I'm not getting ready to do that. I'm not ready to get down and do no stirring, mixing up no chemicals or peeling no oranges and all that. I'm not going to do none of that stuff. So I just go to TJ Maxx and be followed. Thank you, Danny. The last thing I want to say is I will be appearing on Dr. Kimani's channel on Sunday. I think it's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Danny said, okay, dearest daughter. See, Danny, let me tell y'all about Danny. Danny will make a dress. She'll make the shoes. She'll make the belt, the perfume. She'll make a scarf. And Danny might even, I don't know, she'll make the earrings. And she'll do all that. And she'll do all that and she won't even be sweating. Me, I'm not going to do all that. And Danny, she'll have a full-time job doing it and run a business. I'm not doing that. I'll pay Danny to do it or I'll pay TJ Maxx. I'm not getting ready to do no mixing. Getting back to what I was saying is I'll be on Lifting as We Climb Sunday, being interviewed by Dr. Kimani Norrington, saying I call her my sister Harriet. She calls me Sister Harriet. That's going to be this Sunday. I think it's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And is that 8 p.m.? Oh, I be getting this all mixed up. I think that's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Danny, is that 6 p.m. Eastern? Is that 6 p.m. Central Standard Time? So check out her channel. And I have the link in the description. And I'll be on there again. I'll be on there this Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I am going to probably end this live. We've been on here for about an hour. And I think I covered everything I needed to cover. Let's see. I talked about these Gen Zs. Yeah, they different. They not like us, y'all. They not like us. And if you're a Gen Z and you're on here, I'm sorry, but y'all ain't like us. Oh, my niece. I had something to say about my niece, but that's all right. I'll talk about her later. Okay. All right, y'all. If y'all don't have nothing else, I'm going to end this live. I want to thank everybody for being here. Michael, I'll see you next time. We try to do this. I'm starting it back every first Friday of the month. We call these First Fridays. And Michael, you come on back. We like having you in the chat. Have you some more mess and we be ready for you. Okay, bring somebody else with you if you need to. And everybody else, thank you so much. Danny, thanks for being here. And everybody else who's on here, please remember to like, subscribe, get the book, you guys, get the workbook. And if you want me to do a video specifically about writing your personal vision, let me know that. Say write the vision in the comments. Don't forget to go to the community tab. That's where I give a lot of information and I give you some encouragement on Mondays. So I will talk to everybody soon. You're welcome. And I will see you guys later and we'll talk. All right. And I will see you later. Just Ayana. Let's see who's on here. Michael, Just Me, Natural Ally, and the rest of you. All right, sweetie pies. Talk to you soon. Love you. I'm going to get my butter toffee peanuts, butter toffee peanuts, butter toffee peanuts, butter toffee peanuts. Now I got to figure out how to end this live stream. Let's see. All right. Bye.